Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mudirayat.
Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, we should first offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan, Vishnu, Supreme Being, unto Letters of His Vyasa, and unto Srimad Vyasadeva. Srinatam Swakata Krishna,
Srinvatam Sakata Krishna, Punyashavara Kirtanaha, Riddhi Antastha Vadrani, Vidunoti Suritsatam.
Shri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is the Paramatma super soul in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his messages, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta Preshu Bhadreshu
Nashta Praishu Bhadreshu
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Uttama Shloke
Bhagavati Naishtiki
Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki.
By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee, all that is troublesome in the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So we have a reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 15th chapter, entitled, the Pandavas retire timely. This is the last one. It doesn't say Sutta Vacha. It doesn't say Sutta Vacha. Huh?
That's leftover,
That's
right?
left over from one of the mistakes.
Anyways, okay. Ya
Jaha,
Shraddhayatad
Shraddhayatad
Bhagavat
Bhagavat,
Priyanam
Priyanam,
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat, Priyanam,
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Pando
Pando
Sutanam
Sutanam
Iti
Iti
Samprayanam
Samprayanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam Srinoti
Alam Swastyayanam
Swastyayanam
Pavitram Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram Labdva Haro Bhaktim Upaiti
Siddhim,
Labdha Haru Bhaktim Upaita Siddhim Labdha Haru Bhaktim Upaita Siddhim
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Labdva Haro Bhaktin Upaiti Siddhim
Labdha Haru Bhakti Upaita Siddhim
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Yashraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Labdva Haro Bhaktin Upaiti Siddhim
Labdha Haru Bhaktim Upaita Siddhim.
I guess that comes out to about 3. You wanna, should I do it again or? One chant.
Yad Shraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Ya Shraddhayatad Bhagavat Priyanam
Pando Sutatnam Iti Samprayanam
Pando Sutanam Iti Samprayanam
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Srinoti Alam Swastyayanam Pavitram
Ladva Haro Bhaktim Upaiti Siddhim
Labdha Haru Bhaktim Upaita Siddhim Ya Shraddhayat tat Bhagavat-priyanam
Yasvadayatya Bhagavat-priyanam
Pandu-sutanam iti samprayanam
Pandu-sutanam iti samprayanam
Srinvati alam swastayanam pavitram Labdva harau bhaktim upayita siddhim Bhagavat-priyanam
Those who are very dear to the personality of Godhead.
Those who are very dear to the personality of Godhead
Pandaho
of Pandu. Sutanam
of
the sons.
Iti thus.
Samprayanam departure for the ultimate goal. Srinoti years. Alam only. Swastyayanam good fortune. Pavitram perfectly pure. Ladva by obtaining. Aro unto the Supreme Lord. Bhaktim devotional service. Upati gains. Siddhim perfection. So a translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Jai Srila Prabhupada.
I'll read the whole thing first. The subject of the departure of the sons of Pandu, for the ultimate goal of life, back to Godhead, is fully auspicious and is perfectly pure. Therefore, anyone who hears this narration, with devotional faith, certainly gains the devotional service of the Lord, the highest perfection of life. So please repeat. The subject of the departure of the sons of Pandu,
The subject of the departure of the sons of Pandu
for the ultimate goal of life, back to Godhead, is fully auspicious, and is perfectly pure. Therefore, anyone who hears this narration, with devotional faith, certainly gains the devotional service of the Lord, the highest perfection of life. The purport. Srimad Bhagavatam is a narration about the personality of Godhead and the devotees of the Lord, like the Pandavas. The narration of the personality of Godhead and His devotees is absolute in itself, and thus to hear it with a devotional attitude is to associate with the Lord and constant companions of the Lord. By the process of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one can attain the highest perfection of life, namely going back home, back to Godhead without failure. Thus, and the Bhaktivedanta purports of the first canto, 15th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled The Pandavas Retire Timely. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Gnanajana Shalakaya Chakshurvandana Tasmasya Namaha. As born in the darkness of ignorance, my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him. So, this is like a summary. This like includes everything. There's been a lot of stories about the Pandavas. There's been several chapters about the Pandavas, and I thought I would kind of go over it. Because each one is amazing in the first canto. There's so many lessons, the way the stories are chosen. Let's see. I want to look at the chapters and help me remember. Okay. Starts with the 7th chapter, the son of Drona punished. So what happens in that chapter? Well, let me sum up first of all what I want to say. I've heard that you should say what you're going to say and then say it and then say what you did say when you give a class. So I'm going to talk about how the Pandavas teach us. I'm going to say 4 things. They teach us about responsibility to duty. They teach us about total dependence on Krishna. And they teach us about how to get old, and they teach us about how to die. So these are the 4 points. There's probably others in there, but those are the 4 points that I want to talk about by going back over the stories of the Pandavas. And so in the chapter about Drona, the son of Drona punished, we see that the war has just about ended. Basically, the war has ended, but there's a few little parting shots. But the war has ended. We see the same Krishna and the same Arjuna that we read about in the Bhagavad Gita. Which one should read first before the Bhagavatam? So we get, the Bhagavatam starts out with the way we know Krishna already, the familiar way, sitting in the chariot with Arjuna. A terrible thing has happened. Ashwatthama has murdered the 5 sons of Draupadi in their sleep. And now he's fleeing for his life. Krishna and Arjuna are going to go get him. And through the Kshatriya, Draupadi is crying and crying, and Arjuna promised her blood. And basically that she could stand on the skull of Ashwatthama while taking her bath or something. And anyways, so Kshatriyas are like that, and they just got done with the whole bloody war, so that was kind of the... But actually, when it came down to it, when they caught Ashwatthama, they did not immediately kill him. First of all, they had this Brahmastra to deal with before they caught him. And that was interesting because Arjuna, somehow this Brahmastra is like an atomic weapon, and it's making this brilliant light and heat all over them, and Arjuna fears for his life. And he takes time to ask Krishna, what is this? He's dependent on Krishna. He asks Krishna, what is this? When Krishna explains it to him and tells him what to do, you feed it with your own Brahmastra. He takes time to circumambulate Krishna and touch water and say the mantra, and he can send his Brahmastra to counteract the other Brahmastra, and they combine, and the whole universe is being scorched, and he retracts them because he knows how. And so he does, Arjuna does, immediately it shows, Arjuna does what he knows how to do. And yet he's totally dependent on Krishna. There's one thing that's consistent with all the stories of the Pandavas. They do their duty, and they know they're dependent on Krishna. They don't forget Krishna. So, in fact, I think I'm going to read a Bhagavad Gita verse right off the bat about this very thing. In chapter 8, text 7, Tasmat sarveshu kameshu mam anusmara yuhyacha mayarpita manobudhir mam evaishyasis asamshayaha. Therefore, O Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your actions dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you'll attain me without doubt. This purport's really short too, so. This instruction to Arjuna is very important for all men engaged in material activities. The Lord does not say that one should give up his prescribed duties or engagements. One can continue them and at the same time think of Krishna by chanting Hare Krishna. This will free one from material contamination and engage the mind and intelligence in Krishna. By chanting Krishna's names, one will be transferred to the supreme planet Krishna Loka without a doubt. That's interesting. There's 2 short purports. And one of them says by reading Srimad Bhagavatam, one could go back to Godhead, because one is associated with the great devotees. And the other one says by chanting the holy names, one can go back to Godhead while doing your duty. So they're not contradictory, of course. There's no difference between chanting the names of Krishna, which include all his pastimes. And the names of Krishna include not only the name, which is not different from Krishna and comes alive as you chant, but also the name, form, qualities and pastimes. So when one is really chanting purely, all these things open up to one. It's not different, therefore, from reading the Bhagavatam and associating with the pure devotees of Krishna and thinking about Krishna's pastimes. It's not different. So anyway, there's material duty, and there is remembering Krishna and remembering one's relationship, which in the case of the Pandavas, very much they remembered their dependence on him. So then Draupadi, let's say she's one of the Pandavas, anyway, she's in the Pandava family. So she, well, Arjuna did not, this is interesting, there was a test. Arjuna, when it came down to it, he was blazing mad, his eyes were red and everything, but somehow he did not kill Ashwatthama, he tied him up. And Krishna mildly and smiled and said, "You should kill him." And but Arjuna was so furious, but he didn't kill him. And he had just got done with the war, and his way of surrendering to Krishna was to kill everybody. And now Krishna told him to kill Ashwatthama. It was interesting, it was like a different test, because Krishna was not displeased that Arjuna did not kill Ashwatthama. So anyways, we brought Ashwatthama back and handed him over to Draupadi. And now Draupadi is revealing her qualities because she's first thinking of respect. She's thinking of duty first. The duty is to respect the Brahmanas. If he's born in a Brahmana family, he's the son of your teacher. That's how you won the war. He's the son of your teacher. So we should offer him respect. You can't kill him. And then compassion, which is a deeper duty, to have compassion for all the entities. He did not want Ashwatthama's mother to cry like she was crying. So she didn't want that to happen. So, and then she also made the point that the scriptures say that when you kill like that, then bad things happen in the future. I forget just how she said it, but it could lead to further calamities. So it's not smart to kill them. And so they all listened to her, and only Bhima was still not satisfied. Everybody else agreed. So here, Draupadi is the wife, the woman, and we think, oh, the woman has to be submissive and all that, and independent and protected. So she's not going to be listened to. I mean, that's the modern way, right? That lots of times happens, or if she's listened to, you're handpacked or something. So, but no, they had a perfect relationship, and they listened to it, and they considered, and Krishna was pleased, and Yudhishthira was pleased, and they all thought that was very good. Very wise, but Bhima was not pleased. So Krishna said to Arjuna, you have to satisfy both. So of course, Arjuna solved the problem and passed the test for Krishna by shaving part of Ashwatthama's hair and taking the jewel off his forehead and sending him away and banishing him. So he passed the test. That was the test he had to pass at that time. Interesting. So it shows the qualities. It's an example of qualities that we should learn from. And by reading the story, we are associating with such great personalities. We get to directly associate with them just by reading. And we get to pick up their qualities. If we read, write, and meditate, we have the opportunity to grow in those qualities also. So then, what was the next thing? Prayers by Queen Kunti, and prayer should say. So of course Ashwatthama, one might say, see, Ashwatthama wasn't done yet. He still did more harm. And he did. He sent the Brahmastra again to try to kill off the Pandavas and the unborn grandson, the only heir. So he's going to completely finish everybody off because he's just so bitter and so angry. And so comes the Brahmastra again, and the Pandavas get out their weapons. Well, these are mantra weapons, so they could actually fight a Brahmastra, I guess, with mantra weapons, but mantra-powered weapons. But anyway, they couldn't say fast enough. Krishna acted real quick, and he sent his Sudarshan Chakra, and he stopped the Brahmastra. And meanwhile, inside, the radiation was already happening, and inside the womb he protected Parikshit Maharaj's baby. Then Queen Kunti gives prayers, the mother of the Pandavas. She gives all these beautiful prayers and revealing that the Pandavas know about Krishna's Vrindavan pastimes, because she mentions them in there. She's saying how it's bewildering. You're the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and yet you go through all these, human-like things. And she just ends up just praying that she can always give up material attachments and just just flow to Krishna like a river flows to this ocean. And Krishna is pleased, so that gives a hint of giving up attachments. So that's part of the lesson for today, that Queen Kunti is praying to give up attachments. And she's a generation older than the Pandavas, so actually, in the last chapter that we just finished, before Yudhisthira started preparing Queen Kunti already, let go of attachments and began to focus purely on Krishna. She was more ready, I guess, more immediately. And so this next one is what should say, blessing away of Vishwadeva in the presence of Lord Krishna. Next thing, Yudhisthira had a crash like Arjuna had, but Arjuna's crash was before the war. So Krishna preached to him about you're not that body, essentially. You should surrender to me. You should do your duty, and you should surrender to me and just please me. So he preached that essential message to Arjuna so that Arjuna would be able to fight. So Arjuna was all like, had conquered those doubts, and he did his duty. Now Yudhisthira apparently did not have that kind of crash before the war. Now after the war, millions and millions have died, millions and millions of families disrupted, everything. Now he's feeling all the guilt, a burden, a whole planet full of burden. He's feeling guilt. And he can't be consoled, not even by Krishna. So he wants to go and see Grandfather Bhishma. And I feel like I remember at the time I had some insight of why he had to hear from Bhishma. I had some thought. I don't remember what I thought then exactly. But one thing he wanted to know about, he needed to know about duty also. So Grandfather Bhishma was one known for sticking to his duty no matter what. He was a good son to his father, and then he made a vow, and then he stuck to his vow. But he did make a mistake. He sided the wrong side. So we can say that he was chosen to speak about duty to Yudhisthira because he was a human exemplary person about duty. Or perhaps he was redeeming himself because he fought on the wrong side. And he was getting a chance to say the right things and actually say Krishna conscious things and kind of redeem himself and actually approach his death in that state. So that could be also. Anyways, Yudhisthira did not hold it against him. He was all respect to Grandfather Bhishma and asked him about his duty. So even under this kind of stress, what the Pandavas think about is, what is my duty? They don't think, what do I want to do? What am I going to do? What is my duty? I got to know what my duty is. So under the most extreme kind of distress that we maybe can't quite imagine, they would ask what their duty is. Like Arjuna in the beginning of the Bhagavad Gita, he says, "Now please tell me what my duty is. I don't know." So duty is, I would say, central to the Pandavas. Krishna is central. But as far as practical, they got to know their duty. So they'll ask what their duty is, and then they'll obey. And so Yudhisthira asked Bhishma what his duty is, and then he obeyed him. He took comfort from knowing, okay, this is my duty. Oh, also because Grandfather Bhishma was, perhaps once a kid could say, just as guilty as Yudhisthira about the war existing, because he was on the other side, and so he was supporting the other side, even though he really, in his heart, supported the Pandavas. So in a way, Yudhisthira could look at it and say, here's a fellow guilt carrier, And what else? I thought for a second, I really thought. So Yudhisthira was strengthened by hearing about duty. Oh, because Grandfather Bhishma forgave him too, because he was on the other side and he was full of arrows. He was like cram-packed full of arrows, lying there suffering for like months. And he said Yudhisthira was okay. He said Yudhisthira did the right thing. So maybe Yudhisthira didn't completely. Krishna can say anything. Krishna's not disturbed by guilt. But maybe Yudhisthira needed to hear it from somebody who was a recipient of what he was feeling guilty of. So anyway, all these things happened, and Yudhishthira was able to take comfort and take courage to do his duty as a great king. And then it describes about how wonderful the kingdom was because he was so pure. He was a Rajarshi, a saintly king, a great holy man in the role of a Kshatriya king. So its kingdom was very wonderful, and everyone was happy. So let's see, what's the next picture? Then there's a couple of chapters focused on Lord Krishna and all his relationships and how people said goodbye to him in Hastinapur and how people greeted him in Dwarka. So that's really important. But that's not about Pandavas. Birth of Emperor Parikshit, praising him for what he's going to do, giving us an idea of what a real leader should be like. And also that Parikshit Maharaj had seen Krishna once and was always searching for him all his life. And so then, Dhritarashtra quits home. That's how to not live your life. Dhritarashtra didn't live his life right. He didn't have the right priorities. He didn't support the right persons. He supported somebody evil. So, and he made so many offenses against the devotees and against Krishna that when Vidura came to rescue him from just dying like a dog in his enemy's house, Vidura could not teach him the path of devotion. So Vidura told him, go to the mountains and renounce everything, and he did that. He did that, and he renounced everything, and he was a powerful mystic yogi, it turns out. He knew how to self-immolate. So he pretty quickly burned himself up by his own mystic power. And Gandhari entered the fire with him because she was such a chaste wife. She was chaste to the very, very end. So then that was somebody who could not leave by devotional service. And so then it goes to okay, 14 and 15 are how the Pandavas dealt with seeing the omens and seeing that maybe Krishna has left, the end is coming, how they lived their life, how they got old, how they prepared for death. So this is also instructive to us. First of all, they hadn't seen Krishna for a while, so Yudhishthira sent Arjuna to Krishna, to visit Krishna in Dwarka, to find out what Krishna's next plans are, what's Krishna doing. And while he's gone, while Arjuna is gone, Yudhishthira starts seeing all these bad omens, such a long list of really bad omens, and he's really disturbed about it. And really, in his mind, the only thing he can see that it's the changing of ages, and he also suspects that it means Krishna has left the planet, because the planet was in such beautiful condition, being happy that Krishna was walking on planet Earth. Earth was in very beautiful condition, very jubilant. And perhaps Krishna has left, and why hasn't Arjuna come back, and what's really going on? So he's speculating like this, and feeling this ominous thing, this Krishna's his life and soul. And so, so he was such a good king, and now these other things are creeping into his kingdom. So, when Arjuna returns, he's inconsolably, silently grieving, and Yudhishthira can't get him to answer anything. He asks all kinds of questions, hoping for a lesser answer, but then he finally has to say, it must be, is it that Krishna has left? And then Arjuna manages to speak and tells about it, that Krishna has left, the Yadus have all killed one another, and they left. And now that Arjuna has spoken the heavy, heavy news that he was carrying and it was crushing him, now he's done that speaking, now he can remember the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita, and he begins to meditate on those teachings. And then, like him, Yudhishthira begins to meditate in a similar way. He does this amalgamation process, which is a philosophical process, which separate the elements of your body that you're so identifying with, separates them away and puts them one into the other in your mind until you see the original Brahman or Pradhana that is formless, and there's nothing left to be attached to. So of course, it's all still there, but in the mind, one has made these connections and put them where they belong. Like you put something where it belongs in its mind, in your mind. So, in that way, this is how to grow old. And we're all getting older. And we should be doing that. We are doing that. Every time we study the meaning of Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam, about the creation, the elements, and so on, then how we're not the body, how the elements came one from another, and they all came from Krishna's eternal energy, even though the forms are temporary. This is the process of, same process of amalgamation. So it's philosophical, and we should be doing that all along, and we are doing it all along to some degree. So we should be aware of it and do it more in practice. Because then in the end, the Pandavas accepted that, it's time to go back to Godhead. Because they're eternal servitors of Krishna, and they didn't have to die, even. Their bodies were transformed. And they go to the next pastime, I guess. And they have one foot in the eternal spiritual, where they have a form there, and they also have active forms with Krishna and his pastimes. So, but in a way, this is instructive for us, because we're all going to die. We're all going to go to our next relationship with Krishna, our next pastime with Krishna, you might say. Either back in the spiritual world or continuing to help this movement. We're all going to do that. We do have to die out of these bodies. We're not going to be that, it's not going to be that much. Like we get to just have a transformed body and it's a spiritual body, but we will, otherwise it's the same thing, same principle. So we are following their example. And these are the example, and as we read these wonderful stories about these histories about the Pandavas, we're associating with them. We can pick up their realizations, we can pick up their qualities, and become like them. We were all originally eternal spirit souls and pure devotees in the eternal spiritual world. So we're all originally very exalted personalities. We just can't remember it, and so we covered all we think with this body. So we have to extricate ourselves from that. And we extricate by knowledge and by devotional service. So meanwhile, we do our duty externally. There's still duties. We do them until there are duties, there are material duties and there are spiritual duties. There are duties given by our karma, where we landed, by our karma, and what kind of duties go with that, with our particular psychophysical nature. And then we have spiritual duties given by the spiritual master. And as we can wind up and retire from our material duties, we can, of course, the material duties go on to the end of life, all the way to sannyas, so there are guidelines for how to do it materially. But we can be more and more involved in our spiritual duties. And of course, as we live here, the more we are involved in the spiritual activities here in the Holy Dham. It's right there for us. So, and internally, we're remembering Krishna. And remembering that the basic message is the same. Wherever Krishna tells it, he tells it to Yudhisthira, he tells it to... He consoled everybody after the war. He tried to console Yudhisthira, who was inconsolable. But he went around, he and all the sages and rishis, they were going around consoling people. And what kind of consolation do they do? You're not that body. You're an eternal spirit soul. The person you miss is not that body. Your relationship is temporary. They're eternal spirit souls. Material nature is eternal, but it's just formed in temporary forms. And your real relationship is loving Krishna. That's real consolation. And that's the kind of consolation Krishna gives. So he was going around showing his kindness in this material situation while these people are so grieving for this horrible war. But of course we know what kind of consolation. He doesn't really say, but we know what he's telling people. That's what the sages always say. That's real consolation when one is grieving. And so it's the same message everywhere. You're not that body. You're an eternal spirit soul. Your eternal relationship is with Krishna. You should develop that relationship by devotional service, with hearing, chanting, remembering, and all kinds of service, and becoming a friend, and so on. So that's the message of this. Now I repeat what I said. The Pandavas give us the example of how to be responsible about our duties, and how at the same time to remember that we're totally dependent on Krishna. And the Pandavas actually exhibit that because they were visibly totally dependent on Krishna, because they had extra powers because of Krishna. They did amazing things because of Krishna that without Krishna they couldn't do anymore. So it's like a visible to everybody example that of their total dependence. In case they did forget, perhaps Arjuna didn't always remember that his great prowess in battle was completely from Krishna. So then he found out, if he did forget, he found out in an awkward situation that, it's that, Krishna's not here anymore, and I don't have anything. I was dependent on him for everything I did. As he was defeated by some infidel coward men, who, by the way, were Krishna in disguise, but taking his wives back home with him. But to Arjuna's eyes, infidel coward men stealing the women. So maybe he figured out that's who they were. But anyways, so he found out he had nothing without Krishna. So it was a visible example to show us what it means that we're nothing without Krishna. So the Pandavas were totally dependent on Krishna, and yet they were totally, in a self-responsible way, determined to do their duty. And then they showed us how to get old, and they showed us how to die. Getting old, they Yudhisthira renounced the kingdom and set up the young kings like that. So showed us how to get old and showed us how to die, which we all have to learn how to do. So that's my class. So anybody want to have some comments or questions and continue this? Yeah.
When you were talking about Yudhisthira, how he was noticing all the inauspicious omens, and then he had so many inklings also because he knew the change of the age was approaching. And just another consideration was that Gandhari had cursed Krishna at the end of the war, that there would be a fratricidal war, and that Krishna and his family would actually, because they were so powerful, they couldn't be defeated, so they ended up defeating. That was the curse, that they would kill each other. And so that was also always kind of looming, and it happened. She set a time frame, and of course she's acting under the direction of the Supreme Lord, but she said in 36 years, the fratricidal war will...
36 years.
From when she cursed him at the end of the Kurukshetra war, 36 years from then.
Obviously that curse was directed by Krishna to form the plot, because why would she say 36 years? So obviously, and the hunter shot Krishna in the foot. The joke the young men tried to play on the sages, all these things were on Krishna's plan for wrapping up his pastimes. The cowardness, the infidel cowardness of Arjuna trying to take Krishna's wives to Vrindavan and failing. All these things were Krishna's plan. So.
And then just when you were saying, Mataji, about how they're such shining examples for us, for being detached and preparing ourselves. That Adi said something on Sunday that I was struck by, and he said that most people are just trying to make arrangements to, fix everything. So everything's okay, like whatever it is, the material arrangements. And, even we fall prey to that, Not that we don't have to be responsible to, take care of our health and whatever, but I think we forget, I know I do, that this place is for purification. It's for our purification. And so there's going to be things coming that are unfixable or that may not be to our liking, but it's all due to Krishna's mercy that if we can see these things that come as challenges and opportunities to undergo this purification, so that when the moment of death comes, we'll be ready for that.
Yeah, it's very, thank you. It's very tricky to know what our duty is and where it stops. Because like you said, we want to fix everything. So that's why the Pandavas always ask, what's my duty? They also want to know, where does my duty stop? what actually is my duty. So that's really an important thing. Yeah, go ahead. I can't remember what this one.
In an earlier discussion with Adi, we were talking about community, and in that discussion, he had brought up it is better to have education than legislation.
Yeah.
And that, just thinking, the purification on this in this life is really a part of that education for all of us. That's a realization.
The Pandavas sought education on the duties. And then, of course, they would transmit in the way they ruled. They would transmit that education also by the way they ruled. There was less legislation, more education. And, I was thinking about 12-step programs where they have the serenity prayer. So, knowing one's duty, another way of saying it is the serenity prayer, which, see if I can say it right, to know I can change and accept what I can't change, and the wisdom to know the difference.
Right.
The courage to change what I can, something like acceptance to
know the difference between both.
yeah, to the wisdom to know the difference between them. So there are things that we can fix, and it's our duty to fix, and there are things that we can't fix. And so if we can't fix it, it's not our duty.
And you have to accept.
There was no way that Yudhisthira could correct Duryodhana's attitude, for example. And it kept causing all kinds of trouble. And it ended up causing the lives of millions. So that was definitely not in Yudhisthira's duty to correct somebody's attitude, but he could speak it, he could give the example, he could be a powerful king. It's like, I don't know the duty and what is not duty. So that's why we have so much information in Prabhupada's books about duty, really. And there's duty is a big word in the Bhagavad Gita. And it took me a long time. I've only kind of grown into some understanding of it, because at first I was, okay, what is my duty then? And I was trying to guess and trying to figure it out, and it grows. The understanding of it grows. And if you have a whole Vedic culture established, like as time goes on, ISKCON's going to be more and more of a mature Vedic culture, then it'll be easier to understand what one's duty is, because it'll start from childhood to understand about duty. So by the time you have to do a duty, you have some maturity about it. So, but we are still learning, so it's still kind of new. But anyways, somehow the Pandavas exemplify this thing of work like it all depends on you and pray like it all depends on God. They didn't forget their total dependency on Krishna. And anytime things were overwhelming, they immediately called on to Krishna. But anytime it was something they could do, they immediately stepped up and did it. And they had clear intelligence about this. And whenever they didn't have clear intelligence, that was Krishna's opportunity to teach it so that we could understand the principles of how to follow their example. So all this is summing up the chapters on the Pandavas. After this, it goes forward in time. It's about King Parikshit when he was an adult and he was being the king. It's kind of moves to the next phase. So we're looking back and understanding the summary of what we've learned from the Pandavas, which was a lot of lessons, lots and lots of lessons. It's very fascinating. I feel that the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam is almost like a Bhagavad Gita in itself. So we distribute it that way sometimes, that we take the first canto and we just give it, because it's like a Bhagavad Gita in itself. It's so cram-packed with, it lays the foundation of all the information everywhere from Krishna is the Supreme, to what's your duty, to what's Varnashram, to how to conduct yourself in distress, trying to figure out your duty and how to serve Krishna and how to die. Everything is introduced in the first canto. The most amazing book. So, and then the actual spoken Bhagavatam begins with the second canto. That's what we think of the Bhagavatam as something spoken by Shukadeva Goswami to Parikshit Maharaj, and that doesn't start till second canto. So the first canto is almost like a preliminary thing. After Bhagavad Gita, then you have the first canto of the Bhagavatam, and then you have the Bhagavatam. It's first canto of the Bhagavatam introduces all concepts, and then you get to go into them in depth. The rest of the way, the rest of the Bhagavatam, you get to hear the way Shukadeva Goswami presented it to Parikshit Maharaj. So I think the first canto is just the most amazing, wonderful book. There's so much in it. So, okay, anybody else? Okay, thank you very much. All glories to Srimad Bhagavatam, all glories to Srimad Bhagavatam.